The paper cups lay crushed in the dirt, lemonade dripping into the dust. A little boy stood frozen beside his broken stand, eyes wide with shame. He thought his summer dream was over, until the thunder of Harleys brought the whole town to his curb. Before we start this story, tell us, where in the world are you watching from? Also, please subscribe to the channel. It will help us to bring you more inspiring stories every day. In the small town of Brookdale Ridge, summers were slow and sticky. 10-year-old Liam Parker dreamed of earning enough money for a new baseball glove. His father, gone since Liam was 5, had left an ache no amount of chores could fill. His mother, Rachel, worked nights at the nursing home, and though she tried her best, every dollar seemed to vanish into bills. One morning, Liam dragged an old wooden crate from the garage, painting the words Fresh Lemonade 50C across the top in wobbly yellow letters. With paper cups stacked neatly and a pitcher sweating in the sun, he planted himself on the curb. Cars passed, some stopping, most ignoring him. Still, Liam smiled, proud of the little stand he'd built with his own 2 hands. For the first time all summer, he felt hope stirring, like maybe he could buy the glove himself, not wait for life to hand him scraps. But Brookdale Ridge had a way of testing dreams. By late afternoon, Liam had sold 3 cups, enough to rattle coins in his jar. He beamed as neighbors strolled past. "You're doing great, kid," one man said, patting his shoulder. Liam puffed with pride. But just before sundown, a group of older teens swaggered up the street, their laughter sharp. Liam's chest tightened. He knew them. Boys who liked to prove strength by breaking things weaker than themselves. "Lemonade, huh?" the tallest sneered, plucking a cup without paying. Liam stammered, "It's 50 cents. The boy smirked, then tipped the cup, spilling it into the dirt. Another shoved the crate hard. The stand toppled, paper cups scattering, lemonade soaking the ground. Coins spilled, rolling into the gutter. Liam froze, fists balled, eyes stinging. The boys laughed as they walked away, leaving him in ruins. Rachel rushed from the porch, gathering her son into her arms. He buried his face in her shoulder, whispering, "I just wanted to earn it myself." The dream felt shattered. That night, Liam sat silently at the kitchen table, his ruined sign propped against the wall. Rachel smoothed his hair. "Some people tear down what they don't understand," she said softly. Liam's voice cracked. "I just wanted a glove. Just wanted to feel like Dad would be proud." Rachel's heart ached. Outside, the small town moved on, its lights twinkling indifferently. But not everyone had looked away. Down the block, parked beside the old gas station, a single Harley idled. Its rider, broad-bearded, carrying years of road in his shoulders, had watched the scene unfold. His name was Troy Bear Maddox, a Hell's Angel known for his silence more than his roar. He remembered being Liam's age, watching his own dreams stomped out by cruel hands. He lit a cigarette, eyes narrowing at the memory. Then he flicked the butt away, swung a leg over his bike and dialed a number. "Brothers, we got a stand to rebuild." The next morning, Liam sat glumly on the porch, his jar of coins empty, his glove dream slipping further away. Rachel kissed his forehead before leaving for her shift. "Don't let yesterday decide today," she whispered. Though her eyes betrayed doubt, Liam trudged down the steps, staring at the broken crate. That's when he heard it, a deep rumble, faint at first, then swelling into thunder. He looked up. From the end of the street, Harleys rolled in, 1, 2, then dozens. Chrome flashed under the sun, leather vests glinting with red and white patches. Neighbors froze, curtains twitching. Liam's eyes widened. The bikes pulled up in formation, stopping right in front of his house. Engines cut, leaving silence heavy in the air. Troy dismounted, walking toward Liam with steady steps. He crouched, voice gravel low but kind. "Heard someone tried to crush your dream, kid." "We don't let that stand." Liam blinked. You came for me." Troy nodded. "Damn right we did." The angels moved fast. Some unloaded lumber, others carried coolers of lemons, sugar, and ice. Liam's mouth dropped as they set up tables, hammering together a brand new stand, sturdy, polished, with a sign painted bold, Liam's Lemonade, sponsored by friends. The rumble of tools mixed with laughter, filling the street with energy. Curious neighbors emerged, whispering in awe. One biker handed Liam a leather baseball glove, worn but cared for. "Until you buy your own," he said with a wink. Liam clutched it, speechless. Troy knelt again. "You gave up yesterday, but sometimes you need a crew behind you. That's what family is." Liam swallowed hard, his eyes wet. Rachel returned from work, stunned to see her yard alive with bikes and men who looked more like warriors than neighbors. She clutched her son, whispering, "What is happening?" Troy stood tall, his voice carrying, "What's happening?" "The boy's dream is back. And today the whole town drinks his lemonade." By midday, the sound of engines had drawn nearly every neighbor in Brookdale Ridge. Some stood on porches with arms crossed, suspicion heavy in their eyes. Others wandered closer, curiosity tugging stronger than fear. The angels worked like seasoned builders, sanding wood, tightening screws, and even stringing a canvas shade above the stand. Liam hovered nervously, watching his dream return in stronger form. A biker with tattoos winding up his neck crouched down, offering him a smile. "You ever squeeze lemons before, kid?" Liam nodded shyly. Soon his small hands were working alongside rough, calloused ones, laughter mingling in the summer heat. Rachel, clutching her purse after work, hesitated at the edge of the crowd. Troy noticed, walked over, and spoke in his steady gravel tone. "You raised a good one, ma'am. All we're doing is showing him not everyone breaks what's good." Rachel's eyes filled with tears. She had carried the weight of raising Liam alone, but today she wasn't carrying it by herself. When the stand was finished, the angels lined up as Liam poured the first glass. He handed it to Troy, who raised it high before taking a long sip. "Best damn lemonade I've ever had," Troy boomed, his voice carrying. The men cheered, revving their engines in salute. Neighbors chuckled nervously, but then one man stepped forward with a dollar bill. "I'll take a cup," a woman followed. Then a family with 2 kids. Within minutes, a line stretched down the block. Liam's eyes sparkled as coins clinked into the jar, the sound sweeter than music. Rachel watched in awe, her son calling out, "Fresh lemonade, 50 cents!" With confidence reborn, across the street, the teens who had destroyed the stand slouched, watching as their prank backfired spectacularly. One muttered, "We just made him famous." By sundown, Liam's jar overflowed. But more than money, he had something new. The roar of support, louder than cruelty could ever be. That evening, Rachel sat on the porch while Liam counted his coins, his face glowing in the warm dusk. "I made more in one day than I thought I'd make all summer," he exclaimed. Troy leaned against his Harley, arms crossed, watching the boy with quiet pride. Rachel glanced at him. "Why us? Why my son?" Troy's expression softened. "Because too many kids grow up thinking they're alone when they're not." He stood out there on that curb, trying to make something for himself. "That's the kind of fight we respect." Rachel's throat tightened. She looked at her son, who was now laughing with 2 bikers teaching him how to grip a glove properly. For the first time in years, she felt a weight lift from her chest. She realized that Liam's little stand hadn't just drawn in bikers. It had drawn in hope, the kind she thought was long gone from their corner of town. The next day, the angels returned. This time they weren't alone. They had spread word through the county, and by noon bikers from nearby towns rolled in, filling Brookdale Ridge's main street with thunder. At first people whispered nervously, but when they saw the men buy cup after cup, their fear dissolved. Soon townsfolk brought pies, cookies, and sandwiches, turning Liam's lemonade stand into the heart of a block party. Music played from a portable speaker. Children ran with sticky cups, and the scent of barbecue drifted. Rachel stood stunned as a biker leaned over. "Your boy's stand isn't just his anymore. It belongs to the town now." Even the mayor appeared, awkwardly shaking Liam's hand and dropping a 20 in the jar. Liam grinned so wide his cheeks hurt. He realized something that day. Bullies may knock dreams down, but sometimes strangers, loud, leather-clad strangers, can build them back bigger than ever. The teens who had ruined the stand lingered at the far end of the street, watching as Liam sold cup after cup. Their bravado faltered as they realized the whole town now stood behind him. One finally shoved his hands in his pockets, muttering, "Let's go." But before they left, Troy approached, towering and calm. "You boys think you're tough?" he asked, voice low. They swallowed, shaking their heads. "Tough ain't smashing a kid's stand. Tough is getting back up when someone tries to knock you down. Remember that." The boys shuffled off, faces pale. Liam watched wide-eyed. "You scared them off." Troy crouched beside him. "No, kid, you did. We just made sure they saw it." Rachel's chest swelled as she realized her son wasn't just running a stand anymore. He was learning a lesson deeper than dollars. That kindness, when defended, becomes the strongest shield a community can carry. By the end of the week, Liam's lemonade stand had become more than a summer project. It was the pulse of Brookdale Ridge. Every afternoon, the sound of Harleys filled the street, their riders parking neatly in rows as neighbors flocked to buy cups. Local businesses joined in too. The bakery donated fresh rolls. The florist left buckets of flowers to decorate the stand. Even the auto shop painted a bright yellow banner. "Support Liam's Lemonade." Rachel stood amazed. For years she had struggled quietly, barely able to keep up with bills. Now she saw her son's determination ignite something she hadn't felt in the town before: unity. Liam, wearing his new glove between sales, waved proudly to each customer. Troy leaned against his Harley, watching quietly, a ghost of a smile beneath his beard. "See, kid?" he muttered. "They don't just want lemonade. They want to believe in something." Liam didn't fully understand, but deep down he knew Troy was right. That Saturday, the Angels made it official. They set up a massive barbecue in Liam's yard. Grills smoking, music playing, children laughing. The whole block transformed into a festival. Liam stood at his booth, a bucket of lemons at his side, pouring cup after cup while the jar overflowed with bills. Rachel watched from the porch, tears stinging her eyes. A biker handed her a plate of food, his voice surprisingly gentle. "You raised a good one, ma'am. This little stand brought us all together." She nodded, clutching the plate, too overwhelmed to speak. Later, as twilight painted the sky in orange and pink, Troy sat with Rachel. "You don't know how much this means to us," he said softly. She blinked, surprised. "To you?" he nodded. "Reminds us there's still innocence worth guarding. Reminds us that even men like us can stand for something pure." Rachel turned to see Liam laughing in the firelight. For the first time, she believed it too. The next morning, Liam's story spread beyond Brookdale Ridge. A local newspaper printed a photo of him at his stand, grinning with bikers surrounding him. The headline read, "From Ruin to Revival, Boy's Stand Becomes Symbol of Hope." Soon after, radio hosts called asking for interviews. By noon, cars from neighboring towns lined the street, people arriving just to buy lemonade from the boy who had inspired an army of leather vests. Rachel couldn't believe it. "This is bigger than us," she whispered to Troy. He nodded. That's how it works. One spark starts the fire. Even the teens who destroyed the stand showed up quietly, heads hung. Liam froze when he saw them. But instead of anger, he poured 2 cups and handed them over. 50 cents, he said calmly. The boys dropped coins, shame heavy in their eyes. Troy watched with pride. "That's tougher than fighting," he murmured. And for Liam, forgiveness tasted sweeter than lemonade. By the end of summer, Liam had earned enough for his glove, and then some. But instead of buying it right away, he made a decision. "Mom," he said one morning, "I want to give some of this to the kids at the shelter. They don't even have stands to start with." Rachel stared at him, overwhelmed. She saw in her son the same selflessness that had drawn the Angels here in the first place. That evening, Troy gathered his brothers, and together they escorted Liam to the shelter, engines roaring like a parade. Children rushed to the windows, wide-eyed as the bikers rolled in. Liam stepped forward, handing over an envelope with his earnings. "For you guys. So you can dream too." The room erupted in cheers. Rachel covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming. Troy placed a heavy hand on Liam's shoulder. "Kid, you're teaching all of us what family really means." The angels didn't just leave after that, they stayed to celebrate. They grilled food for the kids at the shelter, fixed broken bikes, and set up games in the parking lot. Laughter filled the air, drowning out years of silence. Liam ran between the children, showing them how to squeeze lemons while bikers helped with sticky fingers and crooked signs. Rachel watched it unfold, realizing that her son's simple dream had grown into something far larger, a movement of kindness spreading like ripples. Later, as the sun dipped low, Troy crouched beside Liam. "You started this with 50 cents and a dream, but you gave us something priceless." Liam frowned curiously. "What's that?" Troy smiled, his eyes glinting in the fading light. "Her reason to believe the world can still change." Engines roared as the angels departed, leaving echoes in the night. Rachel pulled Liam close, whispering, "Your dad would be proud." And for once Liam truly believed her. By now, Brookdale Ridge was different. Families lingered on porches in the evenings, laughter filling streets that once felt empty. Liam's lemonade stand wasn't just a booth anymore. It was the heart of the town. Reporters came with cameras, snapping photos of him in his glove, grinning beside bikers. Rachel often caught herself staring at the scene, overwhelmed that her son's heartbreak had birthed something so much larger. One evening, Troy walked over, his boots heavy on the gravel. He held out a small wooden box. Inside was a brand-new baseball glove, custom-stitched with Liam's name. "This one's yours, kid. Not borrowed, not second-hand. Yours." Liam's mouth fell open, his eyes shimmering as he slipped it on. Rachel whispered, "We can never repay you." Troy's reply was quiet, almost reverent. "You already did." He reminded us why we fight. In the fading sun, Rachel realized her son's dream had done more than survive. It had transformed the whole town. On Sunday, the angels invited Liam and Rachel to the county fairgrounds. Nervous but curious, they arrived to find rows of Harleys gleaming like steel horses under the afternoon sun. A stage had been built, banners strung high. Liam's lemonade ride. Hundreds of bikers gathered, raising cups of lemonade instead of beer. Rachel's eyes widened. "All this for him?" Troy nodded. "For every kid who's been knocked down. He's their voice today." Liam was pulled on stage, small and shy, gripping the microphone with trembling hands. "Thank you for helping me when I thought my dream was gone," he said softly. The crowd erupted in cheers, engines roaring in salute. Tears streamed down Rachel's cheeks as she watched her son beam. For years, she had prayed he'd find strength in a world that too often took. Now she saw it, not just in him but in everyone standing behind him. That night after the ride, Liam sat beside the bonfire with Troy. Sparks rose into the sky as the bikers laughed and shared stories. Liam glanced up at the towering man. "Do you think my dad would be proud of me?" Troy's beard twitched with a faint smile. "Kid, I didn't know your dad, but I know this. He'd be proud you stood back up. That's the hardest thing to do." Liam looked down at his glove, tracing the stitches, a peace settling over him. Rachel, watching from nearby, caught Troy's eyes. In his expression, she saw something she hadn't expected. Not just protection, but respect. That night, as engines thundered into the darkness, Rachel realized her son had given these men something they'd lost, an anchor to innocence, a reminder that even hardened bikers could still be moved by the smallest kindness. Weeks later, the lemonade stand finally came down for the season. Liam stacked the wooden boards neatly in the garage, his heart heavy but proud. Rachel wrapped an arm around his shoulder. "Summer's ending, but what you built isn't going anywhere." She was right. The plaque the angels had given him, engraved with "Dreams Stand Stronger Together," hung proudly on their porch. Every time a bike roared through Brookdale Ridge, neighbors smiled instead of frowning, waving as the angels passed. One afternoon, Troy rode by, slowing just enough to tip his helmet at Liam before disappearing over the ridge. Liam clutched his glove, whispering, "See you soon." Rachel smiled, knowing the bond they had formed would never fade. For the first time since her husband's passing, she felt her son wasn't walking through life fatherless. He had been given an army of fathers. On a golden September evening, Rachel and Liam sat on the porch steps, sipping the last of their homemade lemonade. The air smelled of cut grass, and the faint echo of distant Harleys hummed across the valley. Liam leaned against his mother, his voice drowsy. "Mama, it all started with one cup." Rachel kissed the top of his head, and it changed everything. She looked out at the quiet street, remembering the roar, the laughter, the unity. One small act of kindness had rippled outward, lifting an entire town. Liam closed his eyes, clutching his glove, dreaming of next summer. Rachel gazed at the plaque above their door, the words catching the fading sunlight. For the first time in years, she felt safe, certain and whole, because even when the bikes were gone, their loyalty remained. The angels hadn't just saved her son's dream, they'd given her back her hope. When cruelty tried to crush a little boy's dream, loyalty made it unshakable. If Liam's story moved you, subscribe, like, and tap the bell, so more true stories of resilience, kindness, and unexpected brotherhood find their way to you.